All right, so welcome to this demo of VAPI squads. This is a new feature, so let's jump right into it. Now, this is currently only available over the API. This isn't a feature in the dashboard yet, but I can assure you that it will come out soon for the dashboard as well. Now, what are squads? Well, squads are basically multiple agents in one API call. And this allows you to switch between agents during one call. So you don't have to forward the call anymore. So this allows you to equip each member with a unique ability and task. And this allows the members to perform better at their specific task. Instead of you having one assistant doing everything and basically being overwhelmed. If you use advanced logic and tool calling, then this is a key feature, and this is super cool because now you can have each member or assistant perform better at their specific tasks instead of having one big assistant doing everything and getting confused all the time. Now this is great for reliability and performance. And what this allows you to do is that you don't have to forward the call anymore. Now we could imitate this feature in the past was using the forwarding call numbers array, but obviously with the squad feature, this is not necessary anymore. Or just for some specific use cases if you actually want to forward it to a real number and a real human being. But now you can have different agents just in one API call with this. So let me just quickly demo this for you and then jump right into the JSON. Now things to keep in mind are that this video is just an explanation of how it works and not how to use it. So the use cases you obviously have to think of yourself. Now what this video aims to do is basically help you make the first step into the command line and to start actually working with the JSON, since you should get away from the dashboard because you just have so much more freedom and more capabilities via the JSON. And this is exactly what this video aims to do, is to help you understand and comprehend the JSON schema better. Now, you've probably been kind of confused if you ever saw the JSON, if you looked at the API reference shortly, maybe all of the arrays and objects have confused you and therefore you were kind of hesitant or scared even to do this. So I hope that this video will be able to make the first step for you and have you understand the JSON and that it's not actually very complicated. So for this, I have made a demo for you, and now let's go ahead and test it out.
Hello, what's your favorite color? Mine is yellow.
Hey, I've thought about it and my favorite color is actually green.
Oh, that's no biggie. My other friend would die for green.
Yo, what's up? I've really been craving the color green lately. How about you?
You know, I'm kind of indecisive today. So actually my favorite color is blue.
You're cool. I have a friend that digs blue.
Hey, I've heard your favorite color is blue. Is that right?
No, I actually told your friend that I'm indecisive today, and I think my favorite color is actually yellow.
I don't really like yellow, but I have a friend that does.
Hello, what's your favorite color? Mine is yellow.
No, my favorite color is actually blue, sorry.
I don't really like blue, but I have a friend that does.
Hey, I've heard your favorite color is blue. Is that right?
No, my favorite color is actually yellow.
I don't really like yellow, but I have a friend that does.
Hello, what's your favorite color? Mine is yellow.
So the best practices for this to work perfectly for you is to not use multiple voice providers. So for this, I have a quick little snippet to show you.
Hello, what's your favorite color? Mine is yellow.
Mine is actually green. Yeah, it's my favorite color.
Yo, what's up? I've really been craving the color green lately. How about you?
Blue is such a cool and calming color. Do you have a favorite shade of blue? Like ski blue or navy blue?
Yeah, so that's obviously not how that should sound. So the next thing is that this only works for outbound currently. VAPI have said that they will be releasing this for inbound as well, but we have to wait for this. So another best practice is to not use tool calling for this. Why? Because you don't want to confuse the model. You don't want to have the transfer of the assistant actually be a tool call. So this allows you to keep your tool calls free if you were to specify some or build some into your assistants. Now, exactly for this use case, VAPI have made a designated assistant destinations array, allowing you to separate your tool calls and your switching between the assistants in order to, not confuse the model and have it perform at its best. How you basically orchestrate such a squad is that each member of the squad has one specific task, meaning that you have one member that is specified for sales, the other does the appointment booking, and then you have one that does the qualification as well. So here you just separate the tasks, split them up between each assistant, allowing for each assistant to perform better to get you the best possible results. So this is how I orchestrated my demo that you just heard. Here we have each assistant with a specified color just for you to be able to understand it better. Now in the real world, when you will be using this, you won't be having a connection between each assistant, meaning that each assistant can forward to the other that is available. Some assistants will only be one way because this will make sense. So let's use this example that I made above. Once the lead has been qualified by the qualification assistant or by the qualification member, you obviously don't want the appointment booking member to, if it were to make a mistake, to be able to send it back to the qualification assistant. So in that sense, you would only have it be one way. But now if we have our sales assistant, that should be two ways, because what you can have is that maybe the lead is qualified, it then switches to the appointment setter assistant, but then the lead still is hesitant and doesn't want to book an appointment. So you switch to the sales assistant or the sales member. And then when the sales member manages to convince the lead to actually go forward with booking the call or the appointment, then you obviously want to have it switch back to the appointment booking member. And this is where the like two-way switching comes into play. But you shouldn't be doing this for every single member. So obviously always think about your orchestration before actually starting to build these agents. That's basically a thing that I can give you in order for you to be most efficient when building your assistants, to not get confused yourself. Now let me show you how I've set this up in VS Code. All right, so this is how I've set up my assistant in VS Code. Now you can download this exact demo over my free asset base and use it yourself. Feel free to use it however you like it. I don't hold any grudges against you if you start making money with it. I would actually be very proud of you. Feel free to use it however you like. Now, how do we actually structure our JSON? Now, what squads allow us to do is that we don't actually have to specify an assistant that will pick up the call up here in our request object. Now, you can do that, but why shouldn't we? Well, because if we were to actually have an assistant object up here, that would mean that it wouldn't be a squad member. Therefore, we wouldn't be able to transfer the calls efficiently. That means that we wouldn't be able to switch back to that first assistant that we have to find outside of the squad object. Now you could actually transfer back via a transfer call tool, but obviously this isn't how VAPI designed this, and it's not recommended, as I've said before, via the best practices, to not actually switch between the assistant via tool calling. For this, we actually have the designated assistants destinations array. So let's get into it. Now, a member of the squad is basically just an assistant how you are used to it, and it can be a complete assistant. You don't have to hold back in any way. You can just go ahead via the API reference, build out your assistant via the create a call reference, and then just copy the assistant object into here as a member with all your features built out. So everything you can fit in here. Now, obviously this gets complicated quickly, so it's important that you understand how this is laid out. So here in our assistant object, we basically are building out an assistant just like you are used to already. The important thing right here is that you actually give your assistant a name. And when naming your assistant, it's important that it's actually a very clearly different name from your other assistants. So don't use assistant 1 or assistant 2. You can do that, but in order to have the most optimal performance, we obviously want to mitigate the AI making mistakes. So why not make it as easy as possible for the AI to be able to differentiate between each member of the squad. And here we are starting to get into the cool features which are unique to squads, and that's the assistants destinations array. Now each destinations object is basically just like a tool call object, but I mentioned this already, is that we want to put it in here and not use the tool calling in order to not confuse the AI. Let's break this down. For this, the type will always be assistant because, well, our members in our squad are always going to be assistants. Now here we have our assistant name. Now don't forget to name your assistants, because otherwise this won't work, because you need the assistant name in order for the AI to know to which assistant to switch to. And the message can be anything you like. And here the description is also an important part. Now in my demo, I have specified that the members should only be switched if the user's favorite color is blue. Now, if I were to talk only about blue with the assistant, then it wouldn't switch. I have to specifically say that blue is my favorite color in order for the switch to happen. So here you have to watch out and be very careful with what you put in here in order to not confuse the AI. Because otherwise you will be wondering, well, why doesn't it switch? Why doesn't it switch? Well, because you have messed up at this point here. Again, if I were to only talk about blue and not mention that it's my favorite color, then the switch isn't going to happen. And here in our assistant destinations, we have our second destinations object, which I've gone over where I showed you the orchestration. Now, it's important to always plan your orchestration before actually starting to build your assistants or your squad, because now it can quickly get confusing. Because if you start adding destinations here, that means that you will also have to start adding assistance objects down here, and your JSON will just be kilometers long. So it's always important to have a plan, to have a concept before actually jumping into it, and always actually tweaking the concept side by side. And this is important if you are going to be looking at this again in a couple of months. And by that time you will have forgotten all of the things that you have stored in your mind, and you will just be left confused and you will have to start again. So it's always important to actually document what you're doing side by side. Okay, so that's basically the JSON, but I have still one thing left for you, and that is the JSON highlighted in color. So here we have our first assistant, which is the yellow one. And as the destinations, we have our blue and green ones. And now our blue assistant can switch to the yellow and the green one. And the green one can switch back to the yellow or the blue one. Now, how would you go about actually using this demo and tweaking it to your own needs? So first, what you would have to do is to fill out all your information right here for it to work, as well as in the JavaScript file, you would need to provide your VAPI API key. Now, everything else you can leave as is. Now, once you have put in your credentials, then you can go ahead and tweak the assistants however you like and build them out further according to the best practices and tips that I've mentioned in this video. And now I've made this as easy as possible for you, so you don't have to do any external formatting or triggering over make or whatever else you're using. So in order for you to be able to use this directly from VS Code, I've made it as simple as possible for you with all the necessary format conversions in this JavaScript file right here, which is inside of the demo. Now, once you've changed all the information and filled out your credentials, don't forget to save the files. So you have to save both the JSON and the JavaScript after filling out your credentials and changing the JSON. After you've done that and have verified that your JSON is correct and that your logic and your orchestration is sound, then you would go ahead and run our JavaScript to trigger the call. So what we would do is hit Control J, which opens our terminal, and then you have to verify that your path is correct, that you are currently in the folder. And what you would then type out is node, and then mention the JavaScript file exactly how it is here. And given that you have properly configured your JSON and that you have filled in all of your credentials, then you would just hit enter and run this file, which would then trigger a call. I hope that this cleared some things up for you, and I've made this as straightforward as possible. So you just have to change the JSON and put your credentials in, and then you just have to run the JavaScript file, and that's it. You don't have to do any formatting, any conversions. Everything is inside of the single folder, and you just have to change the JSON however you like and tweak your squad to your needs. Now, if this was still too confusing to you, but you want these solutions built out for your business, then go ahead and reach out to me. You can find all the links in the description, and I'm happy to do this for you. So I hope to see your beautiful face on a Zoom call with me. Take care.